but we're just pulling up to pick up my next ride here. Let me just angle this so that it's just on me. Here we are. Hello there.
Hi, this is Jawaharlal.
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome aboard. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Hello
you.
dear. Welcome aboard. So this is something you're not supposed to ask in this culture.
Uh-huh.
Are you both expecting?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a question that is
It's
in
been like, it's almost like 8 months.
8 months, so almost at the end, and you're ready to be finished.
Yes.
Oh, my name is Binyam. It's nice
Yeah.
to meet you
Nice
both.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I wanted to
You're
let you.
from BC?
Yeah, you were reading my profile.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you know more about me already.
Yeah, of course.
That's wonderful. Hey, I wanted to give you a quick notice at the outset here. One of the unusual things I like to do in my Uber, I like to share, I love this job. I have amazing experiences, and I found it a lot of fun sharing a lot of those experiences with my online following. So I have a live stream going on. So I just wanted you to be aware so you don't like talk about things that you're like, oh, this is like private, for example, right?
Right.
So I just want to give you that heads up there.
Sure.
You're off camera, so you're not on the live stream per se, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Sure, sure. Yeah, thanks. for
Excellent.
letting us know.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I grew up in BC. Originally, though, I'm from Ethiopia.
Yeah, yeah.
Once upon a time.
Yes.
I grew up in Kenya, and then we moved here when I was very young.
When you were in, okay,
I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
8 years old when I moved here. To BC, that is. And that's where I'd say my home,
Right.
my sense of home is currently. And then when I came out here to Calgary, I came out here about 15 years ago. I fell in love with it. I said, yeah. I said, this is a
Very long time.
well, I finished my studies here, like after I came here.
Yeah.
Then I moved away for a few years to Saskatchewan,
Saskatchewan.
so east, just one little
Yes.
province. And I spent about 5 years there.
Okay.
It was nice. It was beautiful. But I missed Calgary, and I said, I want to come back. So I came back. I was reflecting how, for many, they don't get the opportunity to choose where they live, right?
Right.
So for many of the decisions made because maybe they found a career somewhere that they don't resonate with, or maybe they met someone and got married, and that's kind of where their family and their sort of foundations lie. Or for a variety of reasons, it's not often an option that many have to choose specifically where they want to live. But I felt fortunate that I could choose and say, I miss it. I want to go back there again and come back here again.
Right.
May I guess where you're both from?
So we are from India.
India. Which part of India?
So we are southern part of India.
Okay.
Yes.
And how long has Canada been home for you now?
So it's been like a year.
A year.
We came last year.
Okay. Gotcha. You missed the opportunity to travel internationally with a young baby.
Yeah, but I think once it comes out, so we will travel back to India.
Oh, you'll have more option than it.
Yes.
I just drove someone earlier today, like a young family, to the airport. They have 3 young kids. Like one is maybe 8 months. The second one's probably 3 years. The third one's like 6 years. So young. My goodness, you are very brave in traveling with young kids because it is not easy to travel with young ones.
Yeah, that too with 3 kids. It's not.
Oh, I know. They had 3 car seats they had to carry. They had their luggage. And of course, like in that kind of context, you're in the slow lane, right? You're just taking your time. But I know because I also have 3 kids myself, and traveling that length of time, you're packing everything just in case, right? Because young ones are not very sympathetic of the true challenges of travel. So you'll have your chance then. Still, it sounds like. Yeah. I don't know your name, by the way. May I learn your name?
I'm Selva Karthika.
Selva.
You can call me Selva.
Selva. Selva Kartika.
Yes.
These are names I've never interacted with before. So I was reading your name. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask for help on that one. But you said at least it came way. In your culture, are they common names or not necessarily?
Yeah, it's a common name. So most in South India, you will hear these names actually.
I understand.
People keep these names.
Okay, okay. Are you guys open for a fun conversation?
I got you.
So, one of the things that I like to invest in my current season of life, I like focusing and exploring the idea of what integrity looks like. And one of my missions in life is to make this conversation more accessible, especially for young men. I feel a sense of calling to, yeah, so if you're both open to it, I would love to be able to banter a little bit about it.
We don't know actually. Like we can give some couple of ideas or
I would love that, yeah.
But I think we are still not in that phase that we give advice to someone or share things. I mean that because still we
Yeah.
kind of feel of learning. We are
The culture. One of the beautiful parts I really enjoy after having lived here for many, many years, the beautiful setting that the experiment that is multiculturalism here, my culture, and vice versa. What are some things that culture can learn from this culture? In essence, it's very fascinated by how such a density of people, can inhabit this land that is so diverse in its cultural setting. I've heard so much about how from one province to the next, there's like a plethora, multiplicity of like different languages, different foods, different cultural settings, and I'm so intrigued. And I'm especially interested because, again, I like being in this space where I consider how people get along, how people socially interact and engage. And the perspectives that I've grown up with here, in some sense, actually in many senses, are extremely different, I would imagine. And I appreciate that opportunity where I can be challenged to say, here's how I grew up thinking what was normal, but now I'm being challenged with a different world, literally, that challenges the way I process things. So very much, I have an interest in coming to visit. I'll give myself maybe a week to explore all of India, and that'll be enough, I think. Just kidding. A week now,
I
be enough.
think you should visit sometime.
Visit which one?
India. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
so you can see. I mean, you can travel to different states. Okay, so different cultures in each state, different type of food. So you can. I think you have to explore that. I mean, even different states, people used to have regional languages.
Sure.
So that is something that you can know about.
I very much would love that experience, to be certain. And even as I explore all the diversity, I think at the very core, one of my questions I'll be having in my mind that I'll be watching for is, what are the similarities between me and this culture? Like, as far as at the very core of our common humanity. Now, something I tell a lot of my friends here in North America, for example, for those especially who have never had the opportunity to travel extensively abroad, there's this perception that this is the normal context around the world, that there's a subscription that all humans have of the equality of humans and rights and so on like that. And one of the things I think, and I share with them, is I think this is actually the minority in the entire world. It seems to me, in my observation, that the majority of the world does not subscribe to many of the ideals that we have here, right? There are many cultural settings in which, for example, when I went back to Ethiopia a decade ago to visit, just seeing the way that there is differences socioeconomically, the way you treat people, there isn't that common theme that says, hey, everyone has a right to be and take up space and exist and that kind of thing. And I think that's typical of so much more around the world. There's so much suffering already that's going on in many unique and different ways. But at the very heart of it, is it going to challenge my perspective of saying, can I see this person who society may deem as worthless or not even worth my attention or worthwhile, and still see that common connection that could be, you know? And I'm intrigued by that opportunity, especially as I go and experience such a radically different world than here. One day. So it's on my radar. Do you know the gender of your incoming family member?
No, we are not.
You're gonna wait till you find out at birth. Amazing. I don't know if I mentioned I have 3 myself.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
good to know that.
Yeah.
So, what are they having on age?
So they're 13, 11, and 10.
Okay.
My son is in between his 2 sisters.
Okay.
So we're approaching a different season now as teenage years come on.
Yes.
But I was reflecting with another dad earlier today because he has similar age, and we were just reflecting how quickly it goes.
Yeah.
It goes fast. Yeah.
So this is something part-time that you are doing because it's
No.
like you completely you are in love with doing this.
I really enjoy this. This is my way that I want to. This opportunity for me driving, I think it gives me an opportunity to make a big difference in the world. I can work. I can create the content and ideas I want to share online.
Right.
So I just finished my previous job, and I said to them, I'm going to go and make this full time,
Okay.
as I want to get my goals in life accomplished.
Right.
So I am very much ecstatic, enthusiastic,
Okay.
invested. Yeah.
Yeah, all the best to you.
Thank you so much. It's nice
Have a
to
good
meet
day.
you.
Nice
Have
to
a good day.
Why don't you step out there?
Yeah, sure.
I
Thank you.
don't have to tell you. All right. Hope to see you both again sometime.
Thank you.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, good to meet you.
I'm in no rush, so please take your time, dear. Sometimes I wish it was us that had to carry the baby. Don't you think the same? I mean, not to give birth, but just to carry the baby.
Yeah.
Watching.
Nice talking to you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hey friends, what's happening? Are you teaching a driving test? Oh, no, I'm not teaching a driving test. I was just in my Uber, and I'm just gonna stop this one here. I was just in my Uber, driving some riders to their destination, and I'm off to the next one. So let me see. I think I can hang on. I'm about 4 minutes away. No, I'm an Uber driver in Calgary, Alberta, and I love live streaming. I've only done this recently. Like I just started this, I think, the day before yesterday or yesterday. And I am navigating how to do this well. But basically, I enjoy sharing the experience I have as a driver with my riders, the conversations we share. I think it's really cool. Can I have a shout out? Hello, how are you? I see you there, not something. Nice to have you on here. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, y'all. If you enjoy great conversations, if you enjoy amazing connections, I think you'll find some worthwhile engagements here. Again, just a heads up, guys. I'm just gonna delete that last one here. Just give me a quick sec. Here we are. I was just gonna say a quick heads up, and that is if you tune in and you're just seeing the road, like, and me driving, it means that the person in my vehicle who is riding, I was probably getting the cues that they probably just wanted a quiet ride, and so there won't be any conversation per se. So that's how to interpret that there. And if you're typing comments for me, I won't be responding directly to them if I have someone in my vehicle, because they're my priority. As much as I appreciate you guys tuning in, they're my priority, and I don't want to have a conversation with you guys while they're in my vehicle, because they're my business. And so I want to honor that. And then finally, finally, I will include your comments that you're messaging me if I notice them, only if they are in relation to the work that, not in relation, only if they are on the same theme as what I'm interacting and talking with my riders about. So otherwise, I'll probably just address them after they've exited my vehicle at the end of the ride. I think this is, I forget how long this ride here is going to be, but please feel welcome to join me in it. And hopefully it'll be something that not only entertains but encourages, inspires, etc. So yeah, thanks again in advance for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, welcome. And I'd love to hear your feedback on the time I have with my rider. All right, so I'm just pulling up here now. This is in the back alley, which is really kind of weird. I'm not sure where to find this individual. Let's see here, they left me a note. They just sent me a text asking where they can find me. Let me just respond to them. Just pulled into back alley. Or would you like me? There we go. Sometimes I don't notice that they've sent me a message until I get here. It's like, oops, I missed that memo. Cool. She's on her way. Let me see if I can just anticipate her arrival. I'll start this camera here. Oh, I like yawning. Yeah, this should be maybe a 12, 14-minute ride, I think. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so I'm not driving. Sorry, I'm just responding again to the comments here. To reiterate, I'm not teaching someone how to drive, although I've done that in the past. I'm an Uber driver, and this is my vehicle. I hope the audio is coming through well. I just gotta keep an eye out here for my ride. Let me just jump out and see if I can anticipate her arrival. I'll be right back.
But today I'm like, I'm not gonna drive. I haven't changed my summer tires yet.
Well, I've had plenty of experience on the road already, so let me take care of that hassle. Hey, I just want to give a quick heads up, Tiffany. I do something unusual in my Uber. I enjoy live streaming
Okay.
to share like amazing experiences I have with my riders often
Awesome.
and great conversations. So I just want to give you a heads up so that you don't sort of divulge anything that you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that on on the live broadcast, basically. My name is Binyam, by the way.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well, dear.
Please use your seatbelt for your safety.
Is this your first outing today?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Just a work team building event.
Oh, I see. That you're committed to.
Yep. And I haven't changed my winter tires yet, so.
Does this mean you work from home for the most part? Oh, I
Yep.
see. And do you enjoy that option?
I love it.
You love it.
Yeah.
Let me try feel happy for you as one who does not get that option. Actually, I don't mind being out and about. Yeah. But if I had to work in a stationary place, home sounds like an amazing setting to do it.
Yep. Saves so much time.
and you're in your comfort as well, right?
Yeah.
Did you find there was a difficult transition to get to this point where you're like, okay, like, how do I make my home space or relaxed space and workspace work well where I'm not like double dipping?
Yeah, it's not too bad because we have an office setup, so it's not too bad at all.
At home?
Yeah.
So you have space for
we have
that.
an office, so it's completely separate. I don't even go in there after work or
Yep,
anything.
yeah.
So,
And you're saying we.
pardon?
You're saying we as in you and your partner?
Yeah.
And they also work from home as well?
He works at home Mondays and Fridays. The rest of the time, he's in the office.
So you have the place to yourself for the most part.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Not bad at all. Does he envy you?
I think he actually enjoys going into the office.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, he's more of a social butterfly.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one who does not talk to strangers who I've never met before, so yeah. Just kidding. Just kidding. Hey, there's a theme I like exploring, and I've taken a deep dive in this season of my life. Would you be open to like having a conversation on it? And I'd love to get some input from you as well. So the theme is on integrity, and my focus is especially integrity in relation to young men that I want to make the conversation more accessible to. I have a kind of fun way of doing it.
Okay.
So I've got like a notepad in front of me with a few questions. So that if you're open to it, give me a number between 1 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read that question and then get some ideas from you.
Okay, we'll go 3.
3. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Okay, so how does one's commitment to integrity impact one's decision making?
I don't know. I guess everything sort of goes back to integrity to me. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's a pretty tricky question. But I mean, everything stems from integrity, right?
Yes, yes,
That's
I would.
how I feel, at least.
Yep,
So I mean, it just depends on the situation, I guess.
gotcha.
Like what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your own words, how would you define integrity?
I mean, I guess it's just doing what you believe is right.
Ooh, I like that. Oh my
Yeah, 'cause
goodness,
I
that's
mean, I guess what I believe is right can be different from what you believe is right. So.
I'll tell you why I agree with that. But there's a simplicity in that where you're like, do what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard at the very core, right? And I would probably say the same way too. So like the way I said it is when your internal values align with your external actions. Do what you believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you were saying, the values, I think when we just say values or moral code or convictions, do differ from person to person, right?
Yeah, like how you're raised.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, your culture. I
And
guess
not to-
plays a big part of it.
Not to say that it's wrong per se, it's more like there's preferences
Yeah.
of what you hold as a, for example, you might have been brought up to at the top, always respect your elders. But you might grow up saying, but I have a different value that is even stronger than that. And that for me is, what does my autonomy or right to speak my ideas, candidly look like, for example. And you might have that as a higher one. So for some, they'd be like, but I was always taught to see it this way. But the real question is, in your own individual subscription of what resonates, what is that you're aligning with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with that too. Okay, so that's why you're saying it all feeds back into integrity.
Yeah.
Which means, if that's true, culturally, everyone does not, or most people don't struggle with integrity. Or do they? And if they do, what are we missing?
That really depends, because like, I guess not every culture sees eye to eye.
Yeah.
Like, some
Yeah.
cultures, it's okay to have multiple wives. My culture, would I align with them?
Yeah,
No, but
yeah.
in their beliefs, it's
Right.
okay. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another like really intriguing
Yeah.
exploration to say, how do you define integrity when you're considering cross-cultural engagement, right?
Yep.
That's a good one. I mean, that's a simple one. We all know the answer. No, we don't know the answer. Yeah,
Yeah, it's tricky.
it is. But here's the part I think I appreciate, and that is this. When you're considering the way you just described it, you're saying in different cultures, for example, like those coming here may have a different value-based system that they subscribe to, but as they come into a new culture, that may clash in some ways with it. The question is, how can they hold true to their values, even in the midst of what the community has a say on? Now, some of those values we have legalized here, saying actually you don't have the option of polygamy. And so if you don't have the option of polygamy, but you're coming from a setting that does, there's a bit of reconciliation you have to do. Either stay with your moral convictions and come and face the consequences, or don't come at all,
Yeah.
for example.
Or adapt to the new culture.
Right.
Yeah.
But even in adapting, the question is, do you still have access to those core beliefs? If you really believe that this is something that you need to have access to by way of a moral framework, that you're like, no, this is like the right thing, are you able to hold on to that?
I mean, I guess so.
That's the challenge
But
there,
it's
right?
kind of,
It's risky.
our culture here is way different than,
Totally.
right? Yeah.
The different setting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So along those lines, I think what I really appreciate in this whole conversation is that part that says, how well aware are you of your own value system in contrast to what others culturally say is the main thing? Because a lot of what we do has been culturally infused, right? We grew up in a certain context. We're like, this is what makes sense to us. But at some point, there's also a way that we reconsider and say, do I still believe in what everyone thinks or believes, right? And if that's so, if that is so, then how can we sort of own whatever it is? Because there's some things that I would argue we've been taught to believe, but we don't really subscribe to, but we just do because everyone else does. And to go like off script, it's kind of gutsy. It's kind of gutsy in that, like,
But I mean, I guess it's just kind of like respect for whoever's culture, right? Like, say, I just came back from Japan.
Yeah.
Here we eat, drink, talk loud, whatever on the street. No problem, right? But Japan, that's considered very rude. Am I gonna, be rude? Or am I gonna adapt to their culture?
sure.
And just respect what they believe, I guess.
Right. And part of that for me, if I were in your shoes in that consideration, I'd be thinking, can I follow through on this without going against my core beliefs? So there's like, I don't know, any expression of values that you may be experiencing, but I guess more in my understanding of what integrity could look like, what are those non-negotiables that you bind yourself to? For example, what does respectfulness in communication look like if that's a really core value? For some it's not. They're like, I don't mind if I make you feel bad. I just care about speaking the truth, and that's their primary thing, right? Whatever those deeply held ones, because there's other ones that you're like, there's flex on this. I'm okay, like, not eating publicly, like in a loud way or whatever.
I guess it just depends what
I can yield, exactly, yeah. So that's why I love the conversation that says, I'll figure out my values, you figure out your values. As we interact, I will catch, if you share with me, I'll understand your values framework, and I'll work at, even if I disagree, I'll work at the ability to say, let me honor your line that you draw, and determine if I'm going to hang out with you or not based on that, right?
Yep.
For example, right? And that's why I like that approach that says, you figure out you and I'll figure out me, and we'll figure out how well we mesh
Yes.
communally in
Yep.
the midst of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna, be friends with
But
each
friends,
other?
right?
No.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially just because that crosses that threshold of
Yeah.
non-negotiables.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why I appreciate that. So, decision making. How does all this impact decision making?
I mean, I guess it again goes back to your beliefs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then furthermore, I guess because you're intentionally figuring out, wrestling with, determining what those really core ones are for you, it increases that element, wouldn't you say, of self-awareness, saying, I know what my yes is, what my no is, I know where I'm going to walk into and say hell no to that kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? So there's the decision making that already is it's almost like prepared in advance. So when you're walking in that space, for example, when you walk into the context and discover that someone's a cheater, you're like, actually, I know we're not going to be a mesh.
Yeah.
And it helps you make that decision right off the bat,
Yeah.
saying, this is outside of my frame of reference by what I value, and so this will be a no, right? So it's almost like it's a preemptory engagement socially,
Yeah. Agree.
and that could take care of a lot of uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, if you do not know what that is, you might actually stick around longer than you need to, because you're trying to determine, why would I say no? That it sounds mean, until you know, oh, I say no because this is just a non-negotiable,
Yeah.
and I don't have any qualms saying no in this department, for example, right?
Yeah.
And then when you have opportunities for engaging, it's kind of like, oh, here's what resonates with me, and I can align with that, and so I already know I'm open to this experience or this connection or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I guess just go into everything with an open mind.
indeed.
But, yeah.
I was mentioning earlier about how everything revolves from this point of integrity, but it's almost easier said than done, and that's what I want to tease out from your observation. Why is it so difficult for folks to operate from integrity? Or another way to ask it is, why does it seem so inaccessible?
I mean, I guess it really depends what it is. Some folks are just, I guess, a little bit of greed plays into it. It really just depends on the situation for me.
Would you say most people culturally in this setting,
Miss what, sorry?
would you say
Mm-hmm.
most people in our cultural setting
Mm-hmm.
are gifted with self-awareness or struggle with it?
I probably would say struggle with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it almost seems like to be self-aware
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of internal work, doesn't it?
Yep.
To say, who am I?
Yep.
How do I see myself?
Yes.
How do I understand my own like, that's a lot of work to do that self-reflection, right? It's a beautiful thing when you have access to it, but it's not easy to look at oneself and go through this process, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I might even go so far as to say, let me know if you agree with this, it takes courage to look at oneself in that setting that says, how do I show up?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes it's scary when you realize, oh, there's parts of me that I'm not sure I like, and I don't know how to interact or deal with, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that takes a lot of
It takes courage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of work, courage that is
Yeah.
invested.
Yeah.
It's not easy to like pull that out of nowhere,
Oh, yeah.
and to look at oneself in the mirror and say, okay, let's do some business, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's my suggestion for why it's not as common as it could be, because it takes work, and most people will take the path of least resistance. If they can overlook it and like ignore it, they'll be like, okay, let's bypass that.
Yeah.
And because they bypass it, they don't have the benefit of it, right?
Yeah.
And so we were saying, for integrity, you have to know what your values are, self-awareness,
Yeah.
to be able to act on that as well. But if people don't have access to what they really subscribe to moral-wise or value-wise, it's a tough thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm. This is why I enjoy having this conversation. Because it's like, when's the last time we talked about this?
Yeah, no, never, honestly.
The other part about this too that I was reflecting on too is currently we celebrate a lot the theme of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you've heard regular encouragement in our culture, in our setting culturally, to be your authentic self,
Mhm.
be true to who you are, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is not a bad thing, because
Mhm.
most people struggle again there because they're like, I don't feel safe to be who I truly am, because most of us have experienced again what it's like to get slandered or mocked or made fun of or something along the way. It's like that ouch factor in my perspective, that ouch factor that says this didn't feel good when this happened. And so I've learned now to kind of hold back and cover that part that makes me truly me authentically, because if I show that part of me, I'll have the same experience, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that again, I guess it's just, I don't know, finding the right group of people that can accept you. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that brings me back to the braveness, the courage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found mine on sale at Walmart. I cleared the shelf. I didn't leave any for anyone else. I was recently having a conversation with my baby sister, and I was telling her like how a couple of weekends ago I went to this dance, and I went early, and there's like no one on the dance floor. There's people around, but no one's dancing. And dancing is like one of those things that I've just found my happy place in the last couple of years. I love to dance, and when I dance on the dance floor, I like space because I just move and I need space. So when there's no one on the floor, I'm ecstatic. I'm like, I have the whole space to myself, which is amazing. And so I was just going to town, and when I'm on the dance floor, I mean, I enjoy conversations, but not on the dance floor. I'm there to dance, right? So I was having just, a blast, and she says to me, my goodness, Benny, you've got like no social anxiety. And I was like, oh, I guess that's a thing that some people have, where they're
Yep.
maybe hyper aware of like external expectations or perceptions that people have of them, right? And so I was like, oh, maybe I don't. But the only like one of the like I get so many compliments when I'm on the dance floor, and one of the most impacting ones came from this older man. He came up to me on the dance floor. He says, "You dance the way I feel in my heart." And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. But I told him the only reason I can express myself so freely is because I feel I'm in a season of life where I've kind of worked through a lot of internal stuff that I'm okay with. Like the way I am on the dance floor is how I feel socially, culturally. And so that freedom or that openness to be able to engage, it's almost like that phrase that you might have heard where it says, dance like no one's watching.
Yep.
You've heard of that, right?
Yep.
But it's a challenging thing to do if you're more aware of
Yep.
external expectations.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just do what you enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Agreed. So this team building event for your work, it's like an escape room.
Yeah.
My mind does not work well that way.
I mean, mine didn't either, but I guess the more you do, I think you just get used to it and you just sort of pick up all these little things. Because the first time I did it, I was so lost. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If I were to do it by myself, I would be stuck.
I would be stuck too.
I'd be like, this does not make sense, and I don't know how to like
Yeah, no.
intuit the references here.
No, I would be stuck.
Yep. I've definitely gone with friends before a couple of times.
Yeah.
My contribution has been nil. I mean, it's not for lack of trying. I'm trying, but I'm just watching in amazement as they're like, oh, this means this, and this means look over here. And I'm like, I didn't see that, but okay, there it is.
It's like my boyfriend. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I get it, but okay.
So I appreciate how the mind can work in
So many different ways.
I know.
Like, so many different ways of thinking.
and I can acknowledge that when it's not my forte.
Yep.
And I can appreciate that and say, please, by all means, take the lead on this one here. It's the same thing with those people who enjoy riddles.
Yeah.
Riddles are like one of those frontiers. I'm like,
I get it.
and sometimes it's super obvious,
Yep.
and I don't see it until they say it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now I see it. My mind just doesn't work that way.
No,
very well,
neither does mine.
What would you say is your superpower?
My superpower?
Yeah, in life.
I don't know. Let's see. What would my superpower be?
Like, what do you do so well that you're like, I own this?
This brings us back to like that whole first conversation.
Yeah.
Like the whole, I mean, not the whole first conversation, but the
But part
whole,
of it, yeah.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I just don't care what people say or think about me.
Have you always been this way, or did it happen at a catalytic moment in your life?
I've always been like that.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
goodness.
it doesn't affect me.
Really? Okay, amazing. So there wasn't, you don't remember a time when you were fearful of others' assessment, for example? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare when I find people who have your experience like this. So it's almost
Yeah.
like you've always been in this, like one of my friends, she's like, yeah, like I don't understand that element where you are far more aware of what others think than, yeah. You're,
But I just don't care.
yeah,
I'm very stress free. I think
Yeah.
that's a big one.
yeah,
Like I see people stress all the time.
Yeah.
You're stressing about,
I
bud.
see. So stressful moments, you sort of like de-escalate and say, oh, here's how I'm gonna work through this.
I'm just like a very
Easygoing.
easygoing, very chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. Very cool. Final question, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
This one here, I would love a no answer if that's your gut response, because it's one of those things I like legitimizing and saying this is totally fair too. Like I was saying, I love facilitating a lot of conversations online around this theme, especially on integrity, because my mission is I want to help others where I once was as a young guy trying to figure it out, right? I would love to feature our conversation, the insights I was getting in the midst of it for my followers, but I don't ever post unless I have permission. Because privacy is just one of those elements that is part of the conversation that I really want to make at the forefront, because there's people who say, I'm actually not comfortable being on the internet, regardless of how amazing the time was. So I guess the request is, would you be open if I were to share our time on my platform?
Yeah. Go
You would
for
be
it.
open to that? I'd
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
May I give you my card so you can see like what happens with it and kind of what I did?
What do you post on?
I post on YouTube,
Okay.
Instagram,
Okay.
TikTok, that kind
Okay,
of channel.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I don't have any social media.
Oh, you don't?
TikTok, I do. So.
Okay. This
Thank
is
you.
me. You're welcome, dear. I'm so thrilled we got some time together, by the way. This is a lot of fun.
Same. That was a really good car ride.
I enjoyed it as well. You can see why I like my job now.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your time.
Thank you.
I hope to see you again soon. Oh, can you
Yeah,
unlock your
you're
door there?
welcome. Thank you so much.
You're
Nice
welcome.
meeting you.
Likewise, dear. Hello again. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with me is what I'm trying to say. Great conversation, right? With Tiffany there. And I will definitely post that time, like in time, on my YouTube channel. But you speak French? I don't speak French. No, I'm unfamiliar with many languages. Actually, I only know English really well. So my French is limited to just a few words. Just a few words is all I have there. But yeah, I'm appreciative that you're here. So thank you. Friends, I'm going to come back again on the next ride when it chimes in here. Thank you for watching along. Stay tuned. I will be back. If you're watching the replay, I would love your thoughts, your response, your experiences you're watching that. So do drop me a comment. Cheers.